Today, we're going to be talking about at least a half dozen reasons why it's better to be single in your 50s and 60s than it is to be married. First, I definitely need to address the newbies here. If you've recently received notice from the lady of the house that your services are no longer required and you've been given a limited amount of time to vacate the premises, fear not, my friend. You are not alone. You are among friends here. So about 50 to 60% of marriages are ending exactly the way yours has. So you are not a failure. And there are good things ahead, I promise you. Today we're going to be getting into what those good things are. And I want to introduce you to two concepts I've been thinking about. One of them is life algorithm, and I call it life 1.0. And the second I like calling life 2.0, which is not automated intelligence, but autonomous intelligence. And this is a life where you get to make your own decisions. And we're going to be talking a little bit about autonomous intelligence and how we as men finally get to exercise a little bit of autonomy in our own lives. So we are going to go down into this stream and we're going to chill out like Jack's there in the water, and we're going to have some fun talking. So the first wonderful benefit about being single in your 50s and 60s is you're going to get to have sex again. Now I know that sounds counterintuitive. I mean, obviously you're not going to be married. So how is this sex thing going to happen? Well, if you haven't noticed, sex and marriage are oxymorons. They do not belong in the same sentence. After about 10 years of marriage, you might be getting sex on your birthday, maybe on your anniversary, but the anniversary is a shared experience, so you may have to negotiate for that one. And yeah, so we're going to be meeting some single women who are out there wanting exactly the same things that you are. In fact, they don't want entanglements with relationships. They just want a little physical contact. They just want to enjoy life in the same way that you do without all the drama. And you're going to experience that firsthand. And you're going to find that it is wonderful to feel sexy again, to have a woman desire you, to have someone who actually wants to have sex with you. And it's going to do amazing things for your self-esteem. You're going to feel so much better. It's going to be astounding to you. You're going to wonder why the hell you didn't ask for a divorce yourself. The second benefit that you never considered is decision making. You are going to be given the opportunity to make decisions about your own life. You're not going to have to ask anyone anything. You will be able to make a decision all by yourself and it will stick. You can actually exercise your own preferences without anyone else's interference or consideration. Now I know in this moment, if you're newly separated, you might be overlooking some of these things, but trust me, when you have this experience and you actually do it, like you walk into a car dealership and you pick out the car that you want and you're not taking into account what your wife wants, the color, the leather, the radio, whatever. You get it exactly the way you want it. And it is the best feeling in the world. Driving off that dealership lot with a car that you wanted for the reasons that you wanted it without any consideration for anyone else except you. The third thing is you're going to get control over your own personal body and space. So if you decide that you don't want to shave or that you want to wear clothes that you wore back in the 80s, you can do that. If you like the flannel sheets instead of the satin sheets, well, you get the flannel sheets. If you want to put the TV on one side of the room instead of the other side of the room, that's your thing. If you want to organize the kitchen the way you want to organize it, that's your thing. If you decide that you want to eat certain foods, you get to eat those foods. This personal control over your own day-to-day life cannot be overstated. It is so wonderful to have the opportunity to be your own man and to make decisions for yourself all the time. All right, number 3 is the quiet in your head. you get the space in your head back. You're no longer renting it out to your wife. She's no longer occupying that space. You can have quiet, you can have your own thoughts. It's the most wonderful experience in the world, not having your wife occupying space in your consciousness. You're no longer worried about what someone else is doing, whether they're okay, whether they are upset with you, whether you remember to do what you were supposed to do. You're going to be able to hear yourself think for the first time in decades. Number 4, you have your own money now. Yes, all the money is yours. Now, I grant you that they're going to be taking some of it away for alimony or whatever, but what's left over is yours, and you can do with it what you please. You're no longer having to ask permission to make major purchases. You can do them freely on your own. That sense of autonomy is worth its weight in gold. And whatever pain you feel like you're experiencing right now going through a divorce is going to pale in comparison to the joy that you feel once this process is over. Because you're going to be a new man, I promise you. And finally, and this is the big one, you get to own your own life. And being in control of your life is what life was meant to be. And I think that Life 1.0, the algorithm that says we're supposed to follow a certain checklist of activities in order to be successful or considered successful in life, overlooks the need for individual control and autonomy, especially by men. It's so interesting that we are so eager to give up our control to marriage and to allow that relationship to so, I don't know, overwhelm us, control us, take our autonomy from us. And we do it voluntarily. I mean, I'm not blaming women for this, don't get me wrong. I mean, women certainly have a role to play in it, but they couldn't do it if we didn't allow it. So I just kind of question, how did we get here? So Life 1.0 is an algorithm. It basically dictates to us from a very early age the way our lives are supposed to unfold. We just assume that everyone does it, and so we do it too. Next thing you know, we find ourselves following the same path that everyone else has followed. I'm glad to see that my own kids aren't doing that, but I'm a little embarrassed and ashamed to tell you that I was definitely a follower. I followed that path right where they wanted me to take it. I went to college, got a job, I met a girl, got married, had children, bought a house. Did I say bought a house? Bought a house. Supposed to live happily ever after, but that's where the bugs pop up. Yeah, that path does not satisfy anybody. I mean, I think there's probably some people out there that they're cut out for it, but a lot of us just are not cut out for that path. And you know, I'm talking not just about guys, I'm talking about women, talking about just people in general. You know, we're following this path that is not serving us very well. And I suggest that we make some changes. I'm going to make a video very soon about marriage reform, because I think we definitely need some marriage reform, but also, you know, a whole new path. So this new path, rather than being an algorithm, I like to think of it as AI, but not artificial intelligence. It's autonomous intelligence, where you get to autonomously and intelligently make choices for your own life. And the path that's most followed is just one option. Here we are in Life 2.0. If you have already been through Life 1.0, the algorithm where you got married, had kids, and bought a house and all that stuff, and now you find yourself single, well, welcome to Life 2.0. This is where the adventure starts. And you have the opportunity to do it, because guess what? You're not dead. So there's a lot of stuff that you can still do. There are a lot of relationships to be had. There are a lot of adventures to be had. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get yourself back into shape. Not just physically, but psychologically and emotionally. And that's what I'm going to help you do. I'm going to do how to get your body back, get your mind back, get your life back, and start living that life that you really had hoped that you could have lived the first time around, if you had just known it was there. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you. I hope this has been a good video for you. Please remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, stay healthy, stay single.